Hello students, this is Scott. We're going to talk about section 2.4 today, multiplying and dividing fractions and mixed numbers. This section begins on page 89 in your book. It's on page 89 in your book. A couple things to keep in mind here. First of all, you just got done probably going through a unit on addition and subtraction of fractions. Multiplication division is much easier, and really as long as you learn how to multiply fractions, you are going to be set and ready to go. The thing you do with the multiplication of fractions is you just multiply across. So last time we looked at the problem 1/2 plus 1/3. We're going to take a look at 1/2 times 1/3 today. And all you do to get your answer is you just multiply across. You multiply numerators, so 1 times 1 is 1. And you multiply denominators, so 2 times 3 is 6, and that is your answer. It is 1/6. Now you can do some things in there with reducing those fractions down. You can either do it in the problem and make your life easier, so multiply there, or you can do it in your answer. Doesn't matter. You know, there's more than one way to get there with all those things. So that is something that you can do. And like I said, that's kind of what you have to do with all this too. And the kind of the math behind this too, just taking this problem here, we want to know what 1/3 of 1/2 is. So if we have this whole thing here, and we have half of it, and that's what we're going to work on here. We just got this half right here. Now we want to know what 1/3 of this is. 1/3 of that 1/2. So basically, if I take it and divide that into thirds, I have 1/3 of the half, another third of the half, another third of the half, and altogether, that's really going to be 1/6 of the whole. Okay, that's going to be 1/6 of the whole. So I want to know what 1/3 of that is. So that's kind of the math behind it, and to visualize those things a little bit. But it doesn't matter what your fractions are, what numbers you're working with. I could take 2/3 times 3/4. Okay, a couple different ways to get there. Multiply across. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. My answer is 6/12. Now I do have to reduce that down. Okay, so I know 6 goes into 6 1. I know 6 is the greatest common factor between them. So I know 6 goes into 6 once, and 6 goes into 12 twice, and so I get an answer of 1/2. Now I could have done that to start with 2 to make my multiplication a bit easier. And so I could say, oh, well, here, I know that these 3's will reduce down. Okay, and you always have to reduce from the top of from a numerator to a denominator with all that. And I know that 2 goes in there once and 2 goes in there twice. So now I'll multiply across, I get 1/2. So that's kind of the gist of that. You just multiply across. Sometimes depends on your comfort level with working with fractions. Sometimes it's easier just to multiply across and then reduce it down. That way you don't get kind of confused on anything there with all that. But it's your choice. Whatever works best for you. Doesn't matter to me. Now if you have mixed numbers, once again, you're going to have to change them from mixed numbers to improper fractions before you multiply. So let's say we had something like 2.5 times 5 and 1/8. That will be a fun problem to do. So we take 2 times 2 plus 1, changes to an improper fraction, so I get 5/2. 2 times 2 plus 1, okay, times, and now I go 8 times 5 plus 1, that's 41/8. Okay, and then I just have to go ahead and multiply across. 5 times 41, okay, yep, we'll multiply that out, we get 205, you are correct, and 2 times 8 is 16. Now I look at that and I'm going, probably not going to reduce much at all, because numbers, the factors of 16, you got 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4, and none of those are going to go into 205 because 205 is an odd number, so that's just not going to work for us. So, but what we still have to do is we have to reduce that down. So we'll take 16. See how many times that goes into 205. 1 times 16 is 16. 45. I know that's going to be twice. 2 times 16 is 32. And yet You subtract that, you get 13 left over. So my answer is going to be 12 and 13 sixteenths. That would be an answer for this problem there. So that's kind of multiplication. It's kind of fun. Just kind of multiply across all the time. I guess you'll just kind of multiply across. You do multiply across all the time with that. So, but let's take a look at division now. Because I said before, if you know how to multiply, you can divide fractions with that. We'll get back to my pen here. When you go to divide a fraction, and let's start with our one that we worked with before, 1/2 divided by 1/3. Excuse me. What you do then, you multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. You multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. So, first of all, the reciprocal. And we'll kind of talk about that down here. The reciprocal of a number is basically you just flip it around. Okay? So if you have 1/3, the reciprocal of that is 3/1. If you have a number like 7/8, the reciprocal is 8/7. If you have a number such as 11/10, okay, your reciprocal is 10/11. You just flip it around. That's the reciprocal with that. So when you're dividing a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So here I would take 1/2 and I would take it times 3/1. And now I just multiply across like we've done before. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, I do have to reduce that down, or excuse me, change that to a mixed number. And I know that's going to be 1/2. Okay, that's what you have to do. When you're dividing, you're actually multiplying by the reciprocal. That's what you need to do for that to happen there with that. If it's a mixed number, you have to change it to an improper fraction first before you multiply across with that too. So let's do one of those problems real quick. Actually, not real quick. I'm going to take my time. Okay. So let's say we're going to take 7 and 5/12. That's a nice number. And we're going to divide that by 2 and 3/5. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to change this to an improper fraction. So I have to take 12 times 7, which, yep, you're right, is 84, plus 5, which is 89. So I get 89/12, and we got that still divided by 5 times 2, which is 10, plus 3 for 13/5. Okay, cool. Slip. I'm cooking with gas here. Now what I need to do is I multiply by the reciprocal. I keep my 89/12. So the number out front stays the same. Nothing ever happens to that. And you take it times the reciprocal of 13/5, which is 5/13. All right. And now I just multiply across. I don't see anything I can reduce down here at all. So I'm going to have to take 89 times 5. Okay, 5 times 4. 5. Okay, that was 45. 9 times 5 is 45. 5 carry a 4. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 4. That's 44. So we got 445 over 13 times 12. Now 2 times 13 is going to give me 26. And 13, and I add those together, I got 156. So I got 445 over 156. Who thought of this problem? This is just an ugly looking answer, but I think it's right though. So now I have to figure out how many times 156 goes into 45. Oh, what did I hear? Yep, 2. I think you're right. I think it will go in there 2 times. But it doesn't really do any good to do a long division problem on that, does it? So I'm going to just take 156 times 2 here. If I take 156 times 2, for some reason it doesn't want that 1 to carry, I guess. I do get an answer 312. 445 minus 312. 133. So I've got 2 and 133 over 445. Now, I said, you know, oh, I don't need to do long division on this. No, it's because the reason is if I have 156 over 445, well, once again, I don't know exactly how many times it goes in there. I do know it goes in there twice. 2 times 156 is 312. I subtract it out, I get 133, and that's my remainder. So really, that's kind of what I did here. I just did it in a different fashion. Multiplying and dividing fractions, like I said, big thing is if you know how to multiply them, you can divide them because you just multiply by the reciprocal all the time. The other thing is you know they have some different things you can do with your calculator on here. As I've been doing these last couple of sections too, I'm thinking to myself, is there a calculator overlay or something that I can use to kind of show you how those things work? And I'm going to work on that today. I'm going to try and find something that you can kind of use, and I can show you how to punch some of these things into your calculator using this too. So that's my next plan here. Some problems you can use to practice with this. Excuse me, they are on page 100, and it's 1 through 50. Now, once again, these will not be graded. This is just for your benefit, so you can make sure you know what's going on. If you do have any questions with anything, please give me a call. Send me an email, whatever is easiest for you that way. And then this will begin to prepare you for the end of the unit information. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.